On this episode of the Everett Lee Show, returning to talk about her latest film, Home for Thanksgiving, film producer, film director Stefanie Davis joins me on the podcast. Also, star of Home for Thanksgiving, Sallie Glaner joins me as well, and it's happening right now.
The Everett Lee Show podcast, a shot of entertainment.
Stefanie Davis, Sallie Glaner. Welcome.
Thank you.
It's been a while, Stefanie.
I
been
know.
a while since I last
It's been a
talked
while.
to
I
you.
feel like it was like a couple Christmases ago that we talked.
I know. You're starting to make a record for having the most appearances on this podcast here.
As it should be.
I think this is probably your fifth appearance, so you're tied.
I think so.
You're tied right now with Todd Sturruch and a couple other people. So
We should have one with all of us, the most common, and just have like a drinking game episode or something.
yeah, I'd be down for that. I would be down for that. How you two been, and how'd you survive this hurricane and tropical storm? How'd you guys both handle that there?
Go for it, Sallie.
Over here in Palm Coast, excuse me, I'm dealing with a little scratchy thing. Palm Coast, we dodged a bullet. All's well. The fence needed a little tending to, but otherwise we really lucked out. So no worries there.
Yeah, I'm in Lakeland, like right smack dab in the middle. So the hurricane, we did have some like debris and stuff all over the place, and my community had some like siding and stuff that came off. And then the tropical storm, like that was probably louder winds than the hurricane, because I'm like, is this when my window's going to break? Okay, here we go. But for both of it, my dog slept through the whole thing.
Wow. I got barely little flooding from Ian. I mean, I have two palm trees in my front yard. One of my palm trees just went. It went and landed on the corner of my house, and I have a bush that held up the tree, and the corner of my roof held up that palm tree. And then in the middle of the hurricane, when it started winding down, all of a sudden this truck pulls up, because I'm looking at this palm tree and I'm freaking out. And I said to my wife, I said, I don't know what we're going to do. And this truck pulls up and this guy gets out. He comes towards the door. And I looked on the side of his truck there, and I looked at my wife. I was like, are you kidding me? A tree guy out here in the middle of a hurricane, and he's knocking on the door trying to sell business. I'm like, really?
He knows what's up.
I was like, wow, this is just nuts. And then after the hurricane, thank God for my neighbor. He came across the street and he chopped down my palm tree for me, and we chucked it to the side of the road. But when I started digging up the root, for some reason, when they planted the palm tree in my yard, they planted it right next to my water line going from the meter to the house, and it pulled it up.
Ooh.
Yeah, I had some big problems there, and I had a guy come look at it who was like a plumber a couple houses down from me, and I pretty much had to push it down, and I threw a couple cinder blocks in there, and I buried it. I took my chainsaw and I chopped the thing down as far as I get, and I buried it. And I pretty much got like a little sand pile out my yard there with grass growing up. I'm yelling at my daughter, quit playing in the dirt. I'm like that old mean guy, get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
I'm yelling at my daughter, get out of the dirt, quit playing in the dirt. But then I'm like, oh wait, I used to play in the dirt. So yeah, carry on.
Yeah.
You mentioned, Sallie, Palm Coast. That's right down the road from me. That's probably about 45 minutes, an hour, I think, because I live in Daytona Beach.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. I've been to Palm Coast plenty of times. I love it. It's nice. It's definitely nice to go there, and I used to work there part time up at up around 100. I think it was 100 there in the shopping center. Yeah, over where Winn-Dixie used to be or is. But yeah, I'm familiar with Palm Coast. When you said Palm Coast, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right up the road from me.
I did not know this. I was kind of just assuming you're over there in Tampa.
No. I've been to Tampa plenty of times. I was actually there a week before Ian came through Tampa with my wife. We were celebrating our 10-year wedding anniversary.
I know y'all only come up here for your anniversary. Sometime y'all need to come over so we can all do dinner or something because it's long overdue. We haven't all met in person. Definitely want to meet your wife too.
November 30th might be a good time.
That's a great time. Yeah. You know, I heard there's a movie playing at the legendary Tampa Theater. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, ain't it on December 3rd?
Yes, that's another one. So November 30th will be at Tampa Theater, and then for TBUF, the Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival, will be in Port Richey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to talk to the wife. Gonna have to talk to her.
Make it a whole weekend because if you're gonna drive across the state, you might as well stay overnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the festival is the whole weekend, so that's fun.
There you go. And you can write it off for your business.
This is true. Listen, we got all the solutions here for you.
That is so cool. That is. Yeah, we brought our daughter with us for our anniversary, which was great because we took her to Dino World. She loved that. She had Dinosaur Land.
Every time I drive by there, I'm like, I just need to just make a detour and just traipse around there just for the heck of it.
You should. It's just neat just to look at, just to go in there and look and stuff. We brought like a picnic lunch with us because they don't have food there. So we brought her like own picnic lunch. They have places inside there to eat. They have a big gift shop, which is just great. And they got stuff for like kids, adults, and it's pretty good. You can spend a pretty good couple hours there or all day there, depending on, what you want to do there. So
yeah, I need to take my niece there. It's not too far from where I'm at, and then Keel and Curly Winery is not too far too.
Oh,
which that's a great place to have some food.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. I got to check out the aquarium there at Tampa, which was amazing. It was amazing. I took a lot of pictures with my phone until I had to get a replacement phone because I was at work and I was up in a bucket truck cutting a limb and I had my phone down and I was going back up and one of the guys was like, "Oh, your phone's ringing." I'm like, "Throw it up to me."
Oh no.
And it just fell and it hit the corner, like the back just shattered. Oops. On the corner of the sidewalk that was sticking out, and the phone wouldn't turn back on. And I had all those pictures from everything from that weekend. I lost it all.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't back it up.
Gotta back it up on the cloud, man.
I know, I didn't do that. I backed up all my contacts, but I didn't have my pictures. I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, it'll be fine. No. I know it was a shame, but my wife got some pictures. But yeah, I just like going to the aquarium. It was amazing just to go there, seeing everything they have. My daughter, she loved it. She loved seeing all like the different types of marine life they have, and she had a good time. My wife had a good time. I had a good time, and I definitely loved it. What's that?
How old is your daughter?
She is 5.
Aw.
It's just not right. I feel like when we were talking about Hot Mess in a Wedding Dress, she was just born.
Yeah, she was born in 2017. She was born in 2017.
Yeah, we filmed Hot Mess in 2018. So yeah, I mean, it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just she was a year old, and now she's 5, and I just like. I was telling Stefanie before we recorded, before you joined us, Sallie, I said, she's growing up too damn fast.
It happens.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It definitely does happen. But I'm glad that both of you made it through this hurricane and this tropical storm. Tropical storm, I was just like, really? just like hard winds. That's basically it.
It went up to like a Cat 1 and then back down, and it just really depends on when it hits you and how hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what she said.
Wow. But I'm just happy and excited that I get to talk with you about another film. This is your third feature film. And I get to talk to the lead actress again.
Yeah.
Because last time we talked about Christmas Ride, and we had why is my mind going blank? Darian. Yes.
Yep.
Great. She did great in Christmas Ride, and I watched Home for Thanksgiving, and again, great lead. Where do you find these great leads at, Stefanie? What's the process you do?
I worked with Sallie on a short film called Keeping Up with Mom, which is absolutely hilarious. And if you are coming to T-Buff, it's going to play Saturday as well. And we had this like lovely bonding experience by the writer and director. And unfortunately, she did pass away earlier this year.
Oh, man.
But
I'm sorry.
She brought these amazing people together, and we just had so much fun because we were all just kind of itching to just do something. And so we made this comedy about, these amazing, women. And I met with Sallie, and we just kind of all kept connecting. And then I was thinking of making a Thanksgiving movie. And while I was thinking about it, I'm like, what would be like perfect is just Sallie. She has that like wholesome, loving, like look to her. And she's got such a warm, like fuzzy feeling when you see her on screen. I'm like, she could really have some fun with it. And I brought it up to her, and I'll let you take it. What did you think?
They say that which scares you means it's something you need to do. And so I can't remember if I've had a lead role in a feature. I think I've been supporting lead, but I don't remember actually being a lead. But when I read Stefanie's script, I'm like, Martha. I'm just like, I got plenty of time to memorize all this stuff, to get into this character. And so, I don't know, I think as soon as I finished it, I called you up. I'm like, yeah, call me Martha. And also just with being an independent contractor, never knowing, how much time I have to commit to a project. That was something else that was in the back of my mind, but I just kind of like let it all go and all fell into place. And Stefanie just assembled a wonderful cast. But on your introduction of Stefanie, you left out a few of her titles because she was sound, she was camera operator, she was continuity, she was the food prep person. I know you brought the gal in to help us on that one day, but Stefanie was like a one-woman show. That just still amazes me how she was able to do it all and keep relatively sane.
I'm not sane, though.
I know I shouldn't be asking questions because you've already got it covered, but I just ask questions, and so I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just going to shut up now because I know you've got it already figured out.
I know there's times where you're just like, I have to ask you a question. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm in cinematographer mode right now. As soon as I get this set up, director is back and we'll talk about it. And she's like, okay. there was times where I had to just be like, hey guys, I just need everybody to clear the room. I just need to like set this up really quick. And then when you guys come back in, I'll be director again. But right now I need to be camera, grip, sound, like all kinds of stuff.
Everything.
It was a challenge, but I'm glad we did it.
Yeah.
Stefanie wears a lot of hats because as here in the last few years, as I've gotten to know her by talking with her on and off the record, she wears a lot of hats. When she's making a movie, she wears a lot of hats, and she's not shy from like, hey, this needs to get done. Let's do it like this. Let's get this done, and she prepares, and it's just like she's great at what she does. And I wonder, it's like the stuff that she does share on social media, Sallie, I say to myself, I'm like, how is she pulling this off? How is she doing this? I'm like, I probably lose. I'd lose sleep.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't sleep because the way I do each month when I do commentary for wrestling shows, and I also edit their matches and stuff. I'm like, there's no way I can do this, and it's like
That's
Stephanie's
definitely-
pulling it off like nothing. Like,
Yep.
It's tough, but I mean, the thing is right now, you don't have the budgets to be able to bring on all these people to be able to do all these things. And so if I could either wait until I have all of these things, or I can learn what I can learn now. I can invest in myself. I can invest in my company, invest in these amazing actors like Sallie, and just be like, let's make something really special. And yes, it's low budget, but I know that audiences are going to love it because that's who we make it for. And just kind of go from there. And then down the line, we're going to be able to have, larger budgets to where I can bring in somebody who can do the things that I don't want to do. And someday the only thing I'm going to do is the writer, director, producer, like to where like on set, all I'm focusing on is directing. Someday. Today's not that day, but someday.
it is amazing. It is amazing with everything that you do with what you have. You use what you have and you make the best out of it. And I love your drive and your passion, and the movies that you've put out. You tell a story. You're a storyteller. And with Home for Thanksgiving, it's like when I look at Home for Thanksgiving, I put it like in the middle of Hot Mess and Christmas Ride. It's like right there. It's a great, just warm story, and there's moments where I'm laughing, and it's like I'm almost crying, and then there's moments it's like, wow, just powerful moments and stuff. Sallie, your performance, especially, I want to throw this in there real quick, especially towards the end of the movie, just wow. Wow, emotion driven, and I love that. I love that because watching everything that led up to that point, it's like, there we go. Thank you. That's what we needed right there. And I just watching it, and just like with your performance and everything, and I just wrote like a bunch of notes down here, and I'm just going through here. Like, Sallie, you play Martha, and should we spoil or just go ahead? I don't know.
I don't know what you're spoiling.
Well, just
from the moment the green bean casserole flies, let's try and be discreet.
Discreet. Okay. All right. Martha, pretty much, she's going through something right now that has to deal with her husband, and pretty much her daughters Trish and Anna are trying to take the load off of her, but Martha's like just driven. It's like, I'm gonna do this, I gotta do this because this is what Tom would do, right Sallie?
Yeah, you got it.
That's pretty much Martha. She's I love the character because it reminded me of my aunt, one of my aunts, how my aunt is, and I'm just like, wow, it's like I've felt that right there. And how you edit your film, Stefanie, it's where you show the emotion and stuff, and from the other characters that come in, Trish, Ginger and Chad, and I especially liked how Chad, because since he's a vegan, how Martha's like the line that got me was I just laughed every time. Like, I watched the movie twice. I went back and watched it twice because the second time trying to pick up on things here and there, I'm like, oh, okay, I missed that the first go around. But the line I like, Martha says, "I'm not changing Thanksgiving menu for just one boy." And we know how Ginger is with her boys. I just like,
not make it to Christmas.
That's one of my favorite line there from Martha. And I loved how especially with what was going on with Trish and Rich. I mean, Rich pretty much would like to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And he did great. The actor, I have him right here. I got the cast right here.
Matt Winter.
Yes, he did great as Rich. He
Yes.
definitely did. I was laughing at those little anecdotes that he was doing there, like when Martha said, "What's everyone thankful for?" during that part. I just like everyone's just looking at the look and just rolling their eyes, especially with Anna. Anna didn't like Rich, you know.
Oh no.
And then Trish, played by Chelsea, which Chelsea did amazing as playing Trish. And then for one thing I noticed right off was Lexi. The voice for Lexi was Lexi.
Yep. I figured you'd pick up on that.
Oh yeah, as soon as I heard that, because I remember seeing something on a post back that Lexi put, like said, that she was, you know, I think she put a post out there a while back ago talking about where, you know, she can do one of those voices for like Alexa. I was like,
Great job at it.
So, but preparing for the role, Sallie, for Martha, what did you draw from? What's inspirations, and what did you draw from after reading the script and coming making that character come off the pages to you know, to the screen? What did you pull, for inspiration?
Well, life in general, you know, and the holidays can be challenging for all of us, one time or another. And a lot of my process comes from the page. And especially when it's well written, it's easy for me to slip into that character. Now, when my father died, it was me and my mom. My birthday happens to be on Thanksgiving. I was born on Thanksgiving. It changes every other year, but I was born on Thanksgiving, so it's always been a special holiday for me. But the first Thanksgiving after my father died, my sister who lives in New Jersey was going to be in New Jersey with her kids. My brother was going to be with his wife and her family. And so with me and Mom, it's like, you know what? It's my birthday, and it's Thanksgiving, and we can have different traditions. And in the movie, it's, you know, we start talking about, maybe let's consider next year doing something different. And so my mom and I went to SeaWorld, speaking of aquariums, for Thanksgiving. We had our Thanksgiving dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus. A friend of mine was Mrs. Santa at the time, so she got us into the park. We had to buy the tickets for that, but it was just like, you know, how families cope with loss. And it's different for everyone. And grief is one of those things that comes in waves. And I think just with Martha, with her keeping it just under the surface and trying to be strong for everyone, Ginger says that, you know, well, Mima always said that he was the glue of the family, but she really is. And so, you know, in reading the script, I got glimpses of who Martha was intended to be by Stefanie, by what other characters said about her as well. So, just you know, trying to imagine what a woman in that situation with grown children would do. So it just kind of happened. It's just magic.
What's magic?
That's right.
I just loved how Sallie, how you interacted with the rest of the cast. I mean, Rich, Chad, and the relationship that Martha had with her niece or granddaughter, actually, her granddaughter, and the two youngest grandchildren. You know, that was pretty cool right there, because when I was watching the credits, getting a brother and sister. I mean, how'd you pull that off, Stefanie?
I've worked with their mother on infomercials and stuff, and the both of them are working actors. They do commercials. Lucy just worked on a Netflix show. Fletcher does a lot of stuff. And so I reached out to Amy. I'm like, do you think, you know, the kids would be interested in it? And originally I'd written it for much younger children, but I'm like, these guys are professionals. Like, they'll have fun with it. And she's like, yeah, they would love it. And Fletcher actually came up with the Shirley Temple thing. And so then once he came up with that, I go, okay, Lucy, then you can just say, I'll have a scotch on the rocks. She's like, what's a scotch on the rocks? I'm like, I'll tell you when you're older. And they just had fun with it. Mm-hmm. And their reward at the very end of it is they wanted to have a food fight with the rolls. And so they got to pelt each other with the rolls with their mother's permission.
Is this the first film that you've worked with children, or is it not? Or you've worked with children before?
Maybe.
Because I'm trying to remember.
I don't think we've had children on our other shoots. I've worked with children on other people's projects, but on our projects, no, I don't think we've had any children yet. Mm-mm. So yeah, this would be the first time.
So there's that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. I like that, because I was trying to remember. I was like, is this the first time she's had children? She's worked with children or had children?
Yeah, and this one and The Christmas Ride are the most wholesome movies we've ever done. Everything else is very vulgar.
I mean, hot mess. And I was sitting there thinking, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was sitting there thinking about when I was watching Chelsea. I said she's more of a more improv, more comedic. I'm like, she's serious in this one. Mm-hmm. And then when Lexi was the voice of Lexi there, but also she had a part in it. And when I seen her, it's like her performance as the bartender. She came off good, but in a way I kind of felt like came off too strong. But then again, when I watched the first time, I was like, wow. I was like, she nailed that too good as a bar. But then when I watched it again, I was like, okay. I was like, how she was being like that because of Rich. So that made much more sense there. But that first time, I'm like, wow, she's playing this too good. She's playing this too good, man. But yeah, after I watched it again, I was like, okay, yeah. And that was a nice location right there in Lakeland, right there.
Yeah.
How did that come about with the location?
That's the bar I go to all the time. I live in Lakeland, and Chelsea and I go to Swan Brewing all the time. And I just reached out to the owner just through the website and said, hey, we're wanting to film this scene, and I'm wondering if you were interested. And he's like, yeah, absolutely. And so we actually filmed it the Saturday after Hurricane Ian passed. And so like the day before, he's like, well, let's just see, how the bar did. And that evening, he's like, we're good. I'm like, okay. So let everybody know we're good. We're good to go. We got there in the morning, and, we were just there for a couple hours, and we drank some beer, had some mimosas, hung out, and it was such a good time. And he and Christina both just had a blast, and they're like, come back anytime. I'm like, don't tell me that, because I will write a bar scene in everything that I have.
Hey, that's advertising, because I'm saying to myself now, I was like, if I'm a Lakeland, I like to swing by there just for because
gorgeous bar, and it's so fun. It's right off the lake. It's very beautiful, and the atmosphere is great, and the beer is even better.
That's amazing. I'm gonna have to go there now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely gonna have to go there.
On your way over to see the film.
Yes.
Take your wife there, and
there you go.
Perfect. Me too.
My wife likes, she don't like drinking beer. She does like drinking like margaritas.
You can try, and you can have the adult beverage.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, they also have like mimosas and wine and cider and stuff too. It's not just beer.
Okay, that's cool. I like talking about locations. You also filmed over at the Veterans Park. Where was that located at? That's in Tampa, right?
Yeah, so that's not far from the Hard Rock Casino, which was where our Airbnb was nearby. And we actually filmed there on September 11th. So it was a very very kind of heavy morning. And I Sallie, I don't know if you want to speak on this, but I feel like it kind of helped you get there too with that somber feeling. It just gorgeous location.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And where we filmed specifically, so Tom was both Vietnam and
Desert Storm.
Thank you. So we're at both of those memorials, and it was very it was very powerful. Very powerful morning.
Yeah, and huge thank you to Film Tampa Bay for getting us the permit and getting us with the county to be able to do that. It just added another layer to who Tom was, and for Martha to come visit there after having her little mini confrontation with Rich. It's her kind of reflection time, and Jana pulls her a little bit out of a funk. But I feel like those kind of locations not only have to be gorgeous, but they can also add another layer to the story and to the character.
Mm-hmm. That's what I like about with the films that you do, Stefanie, is you peel back a little bit at a time as the film progresses on characters and who they are. And I wasn't surprised that I was going to see this with the storytelling that you do tell when you direct and you write your movies. And I just love the fact that we get to see more of Tom and how the relationship was, how Martha felt about Tom, and how much she loved him, and where she was, and just it was powerful. The location there at the Veterans Park, I thought that was great, and seeing the different shot places and parts that you shot and stuff. And then the scene with her neighbor Lana.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Was that close by there too, or where was that shot at?
That was right at the park as well. And so there was a spot where the water and stuff was in the backgrounds to kind of make it look like she'd been walking for a bit and just took a break and happened to run into Lana. And that worked out pretty well, except for poor Sallie and Jana were getting eaten by ants.
Really?
They were ants climbing on. I saw climbing on Jana. Like, are we making it? Are we making the chance to break?
I have a couple of clips. I need to make a blooper reel that I've got one of both of you going like.
Oh yeah.
We love blooper reels.
I remember we were considering, or you were considering shooting us on a different bench, but in being respectful to those who are memorialized there, we didn't, because lots of our veterans' names were on different plaques and on different benches. So we made sure that we didn't include any of that in our shots.
Yeah, we definitely wanted to be respectful, because that was the big thing with the county, was that, they wanted to see what the scene was. And originally, they were going to be talking about margaritas, and they're like, can you please make sure that the memorials are not in the background when you talk about that? And I actually cut out the talk about margaritas in general there, because the more that I thought about it, the more it's just like, let's just be as respectful as possible about it. And even like that bench just kind of made it look like a whole other spot, even though it was literally catty-cornered from where the actual memorials were. So that worked out really well.
Okay. That's great. I love the locations that you shoot, for your movies. Like pretty like Hot Mess, when you shot that was all around Tampa there. Christmas Ride, when you were around, you pretty much shot that around Tampa there. I think we had a conversation about that at one point. Like Tampa has a lot of great locations, and even when I was over there, right, a week before Ian came through, I was sitting there just looking around. I'm like, there's some pretty good spots here, because I'm sitting there looking around. I'm like, it's a good town. The shoot stuff at, especially downtown. I ended up venturing downtown Tampa there, and I'm just looking around there. And I think I mentioned this to you one time. Back in 2014, me and my wife went over to see a WWE pay-per-view over there in Tampa at the same stadium where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. And right there at the hotel we were at, right next to the stadium, I opened up the window and I could see the bridge where they shot the car chase scene from The Punisher, from the one with Thomas Jane and John Travolta. I was like, this is so cool. I'm taking a picture, and my wife's like, what are you taking a picture of? I'm like, I'm taking a picture of a bridge, man. I'm like, you see that bridge right there? She's like, yeah, it's a bridge. I'm like, no, it's not just any bridge. That's the bridge where Thomas Jane drove his car over it in The Punisher. And she was like, okay. I'm like, she's like, yeah, whatever. You know, I was like, that's cool. You know, get to see like locations like that, and
Yeah.
just location plays a big part. And this time around, like when I was watching Home for Thanksgiving, I was looking at different, like, you like to use colors, and I did notice in the kitchen, in Martha's kitchen, on the oven, she had two different color of washcloths there. Because
Yes.
I'm always looking at that. Like last time I talked to Stefanie, Sallie, she likes to use colors, and I pretty much was looking at different colors and tones and stuff through this whole movie, which you used again, right?
Yes. Yep. Everybody had their color based on, kind of the personalities. Like Martha was the maroon palette, pink palette for, the innocence and the matriarchal. Ginger was yellow, which is optimistic. Chad is red for that love and that passion. Rich is the brown for that very like selfishness kind of thing. The two daughters were orange. Orange is the color of adventure, and they had different tones. And then this time around, not just with color, I wanted to play with textures as well. So we had like the yarn afghan, and the glasses had a lot of like etched kind of glassware on there, and a lot of the vintage kind of looking dishes that I found in antique stores and in thrift shops, and just kind of playing around with different textures along with the colors, just to kind of take it up another notch and just make it feel like your home Thanksgiving. Like everything that I had on there is a lot reminded me of my Thanksgivings in Missouri, or even the way we do it now here in Florida.
Nice. How did you like, Sallie, how Stefanie arranged everything in the house for like Martha's house? How did you like how she did that there?
Well, the Airbnb where we shot actually did feel like home because I stayed there. So I found there was my bedroom, and there was my bathroom, and all of my toiletries and everything. And then I'd hear like, okay, Stefanie's here. I should get up and start getting ready. But yeah, so everything, it was very, it was my home for those couple weekends when I was over there. There was food I could eat and food that was propped, and coffee. Do I have more coffee? I'm like, okay. And then when she left and she packed everything up, I still had it the next morning. I'm like, oh, my coffee maker's gone. But yeah, it's very, very, very comfortable. Yeah.
Nice. Is this the first time you shot in a Airbnb, Stefanie?
No, Hot Mess was in an Airbnb as well.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I asked you that before, but hey, that's I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I like the house they're shooting at, and that's.
So what was amazing, Everett, is that Stefanie came, and she was like moving into this home with like how many runs. I'm like, here, let me help you. I'm like, no, you're not allowed to help. You go do your acting stuff, and it's so. I mean, I'm my other life, I'm a meeting planner, so I was just like, but I'm not used to just standing by idly. So, but she was like moving in each time, and then like moving out. Like it was definitely big moving days on each time we shot there, especially on the Thanksgiving meal day.
Yes, that day was definitely. I was glad that I stayed that weekend.
Yes,
because that one was. I did like a couple trips with my car, and I always had my poor dog. She has such anxiety, and so me moving things in and out of the house for like 3 weekends, she was just like, what's happening? I don't like this. Mom.
Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to shoot this? Actually, let me go back. How long did it take you, because I know it takes you a while to write stuff, Stefanie?
Yes.
how long did it take you to write this, and then how long did it take you to shoot this when you started getting everything going for start filming?
So I started writing it in, I want to say March, because when we did Gasparilla, well, no, when we did Gasparilla, Sallie already said yes. So I probably started writing it around January, February, and then reached out to Sallie. And then we went to the Gasparilla Film Festival for Keeping Up with Mom, and she had already said yes to it. So I introduced her to Chelsea, who's going to be your daughter. And then we did crowdfunding for a portion of the funds in June and July. And then we filmed in late August to October over about 7.5 days total. So 3 weekends and then a day at the bar. And then we had a little, we did a little filming in July with John, who plays Tom in the flashback and all the photos. Sallie and John came up and we did the flashback stuff and all that.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. That is.
You know what? I don't know, Everett, if Stefanie shared with you, but on one of the days, my schedule on another project switched around, and Stefanie is so gracious. She goes, "No, wait, we can make this work." And so she was able to, with full cast, shoot around me.
Really?
And when I was looking at Stefanie, I was just like, it was seamless. It was seamless. I couldn't tell where, what day was shot when I was actually there and when I was absent.
Yeah, I mean, you had, a gig that was definitely much larger than what we were doing, and to be like, no, you committed to this, you have to stay to this. That's not the kind of people that we are. That's not the way that I want to operate. It's just, if you need to leave, if you can be here on Saturday when everybody's here, and we'll get as much as we can get with everybody with you Saturday, then Sunday, you go do your thing, go be a badass, go take care of all that. And then we're gonna, shoot everybody else, because we had Krishna only for that weekend. So my main focus was making sure on Sunday is getting everything with her, getting everything with the kids. And we actually had a short day that day. So we filmed quite a bit of stuff, but then there was a lot of things where I'm like, you know what, we can do that the last weekend. I purposely scheduled the very last weekend very, very light, because I knew there were going to be things that we weren't going to be able to accomplish those first 2 weekends. And as I'm editing, I'm seeing what I need to pick up, what I need to, do again, or is there something that's not working? So that last weekend was a lot of what's left and what can we pick up while we have everybody.
Okay. That's great that she's like, okay, I got you here. All right, we're gonna get this done, and then go do your thing, and then I'm gonna move on and get this done. That's
so appreciated. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. She works great, don't she, Sallie?
Oh yeah. It's just I'm still amazed at her never-ending talents.
One thing I was amazed about, I wanted to bring up about you, Sallie, was I pulled you up on IMDb, and all I got was just a long list of movies that you've been in. But it was like no bio and really no nothing. So I was just like, I'm like, where did she come from?
I
where?
have a friend in Arizona that wrote a beautiful piece on me for something, and I'm like, hey, can you just write that for me again or something again? And I forget, it kind of fell by the wayside. But I'm not good at doing my bios.
They're so hard.
Yeah.
It is.
So like, even when you do theater and like, oh, this is my first time with this theater, and thrilled to play this character and blah blah blah, and throw something funny in there or something current, and that just for like something that lives on IMDb forever. I'm like, I don't know.
All right, I got 2 monitors here, so I'm pulling. I got you guys here, and I got
oh gosh,
IMDb over on the other one here. Here we are, Sallie. I'm looking at like your list here, 31 films that you've been in, and
there's 4 that aren't up there yet. I'm like, come on.
I know. I keep waiting for the one that you were doing at the same time because they were very contrasting characters. I don't know if you can say anything about your other one.
Yeah, the other one, the other one was a Lifetime movie called Love Gala, and my character in that one is CEO of a fashion magazine. Very very high end, very in charge, very and the typical lifestyle or Lifetime Hallmark kind of tearjerker thing. But yeah, it was very different. Okay, now who am I here today? And who am I here today? Okay,
yeah,
got it. Clothing is very helpful.
Kind of.
I know you were talking to me about that too when you were staying at the Airbnb. You're like, so I'm Martha today. I'm very wholesome. She's like, my nails are very short, and then as soon as we're done here, I have to put on my nails because I have to be. Yeah. Is it Meredith or?
Oh gosh, Margaret.
Because you're like Martha and Margaret. I have to transition from one to the other, and it's very like Home Cook meets Devil Wears Prada, and it's like
and I'm doing that again. I've got like these long.
Those are so pretty.
I like. Yeah, I was gonna say Glenn Close because of Devil Wears Prada because I actually like that movie because I like. Why is my mind going blank?
It was Meryl Streep in Devil Wears Prada and
Meryl Streep. Yes, not Glenn Close.
Yes.
Sorry.
Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci, all the best.
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say Anne Hathaway. What I like about that movie is basically she showed that, like, yeah, I can hang. I can hang, and I like that movie. I like Anne's performance in that movie. It's great.
She's lovely. She's I love everything she's done that I've seen.
I like her in that and The Dark Knight Rises as Catwoman because that surprised me right there because it was a very different take on a classic character from what I remember from reading in the comics to seeing like on TV and even the movies and stuff. Like even like when I was a kid, like what was it, like Nickelodeon would play old Batman Adam West and Catwoman and because that was Catwoman.
I grew up with Adam West as Batman. He was one of my first crushes. Him and Captain Kirk.
Nice. I feel like Eartha Kitt's one of the best Catwomen. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she.
Julie Newmar.
Yes. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And of course Michelle Pfeiffer is iconic, but
Yes. Michelle Pfeiffer, she brought a different take on it, and Anne Hathaway brought a different take on it. Anne Hathaway to me kind of leaned towards the jewel thief in the comics of Selena Kyle, how that character in the comics is. That's what I liked about that right there. And even in the Batman with what's his name from who did Twilight?
Rob Pattinson. I haven't seen that one yet.
You haven't?
No, it's 3 hours. I don't have 3 hours.
Well, I mean, come on.
That's why I make 70-minute movies. I don't have 3 hours to watch these movies.
It's if you have 3 hours to spare, watch it watch
I should watch it though.
Robert Pattinson was great. The villain in the movie was great. The villain is I'll just tell you is
Paul Dano doing the Riddler, and then Colin Farrell was the Penguin.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was Colin Farrell. I did not know that was him. I was telling my friend who was a big Batman fan. He's like, "Oh man, I didn't really." I was like, "Did you get to the Penguin?" And he's like, "No." He was like, "Well, yeah, I kind of did see him, but who is that guy?" I'm like, "That was I found out when I found out it was Colin Farrell. I was like, I told him, and I was like, "That's Colin Farrell." I said, "Yeah, huh?" No. I said, "Yes."
He's such a good actor. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves for everything that he does.
Yeah, he don't. His performance surprised me, and. Yeah, this Jim Carrey don't even come close to what his Riddler was to this, and
that's a whole different tone.
Yeah, wow, that was a whole different one, and I liked in the Dark Knight, I liked Harvey Dent, the actor. I liked his portrayal of Harvey Dent and Two-Face.
Yeah,
that was great, especially Liam Neeson.
Yes.
He became like a badass. He's one of those guys. Career like took off when he got older. It's like, I mean, you gotta look at him. He trained Obi-Wan, he trained Batman, and he led the A-Team.
Yeah.
That's Liam Neeson. He Taken. The Taken series is my favorite ones that he did, and then there's the one he did where I forget the name of the movie. It's on the train where he's trying to solve a murder. That had a good twist to it there. I forget the name of that, but it was one of my favorite Liam Neeson movies that he did. I actually watched it when I was on a cruise with my wife. They had like I was out there having a few beers with my wife's uncle, and we're sitting there on the deck, like it was like midnight out there, like in the middle of the ocean on a cruise, on a Carnival cruise, and they had like the big like monitor. They were playing a movie. We're sitting there watching this, We're like, all right, let's watch this. We're like, okay, we want to see that new Blade Runner after this.
And yet you're on a cruise. Come on, man.
Yeah. Well, I was like, I'm going to bed. What are you doing? I'm having drinks with your uncle, and we're sitting there watching this movie. Okay, all right, have fun. Like, all right, cool. But like, I pulled up your resume here, Sallie.
Oh.
You've done Queen of the South. Wow. Like when I saw that there, because I know I've not watched Queen of the South, but I've heard people talk about it. I know what it's about, and I'm like being on a playing a part on a show like that. That's
Well, ignorance is bliss, because I was in the 4th season, so I wasn't really aware of it. But Queen of the South marked my comeback, if you will, to episodic television, because my last one before that was Army Wives.
Yes, so I got it right here.
It took me a while to get back, and so I drove to New Orleans, and it was the same casting director that booked me on Army Wives as did Queen of the South. But making my way back, it was like no pressure, because it was 3 scenes, 2 words, 1 line. Got it. And everyone was so kind and nice, and just went up for my fitting, and a friend of mine lives there, and so we went and had dinner. I was just like, it was such a great weekend. I'm like, oh yeah, it's like I had my own little trailer, and yeah, and I was like one of these high end, like $1,000 an hour type attorneys was how my character was described, and the gal that was my assistant, so we're our trailers or hunting wagons are close to each other, and I'm like, so my character has to be just like really mean and stuff to her, but it's just like, oh hi, how are you? It's like, so
you said theater. You have theater.
I started acting in 1986, 88.
Wow, I was about 6 years old.
Yeah, so I was doing that up on Cape Cod, and Cape Cod at the time, I don't know, maybe still, had a lot of retired vaudeville and Broadway actors that still did community theater strictly for the love of acting. So my first play was A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. And, I played one of the courtesans in the House of Lycus, vibrata. I wasn't a dancer. I didn't really sing. I forgot the song I was singing because I was so nervous. I ended up singing Happy Birthday operatically, but they cast me. And the gentleman that played Hysterium kind of took me under his wing, and I was competing in pageants at the time. So I was kind of like my theater and my pageant career kind of intertwined, because I was taking acting classes, so I would be comfortable saying my name on stage in front of a live audience for the competition. And so he was making song suggestions for me, and just he grew up in vaudeville, and he was a wonderful actor. That was my first read through, and he was full-blown Hysterium from the moment he opened his mouth at the read through. So that's like kind of like I learned from the best very early on, and just that it helped with my work ethic, especially being prepared. proper preparation prevents poor performance. I heard it said. So I try to keep that as, my, what I bring to the table is hopefully I'm as prepared as I possibly can be. And then, let my director and my castmates bring the other magic.
Yeah, you were definitely very, very prepared for this. You had all kinds of notes and questions for me, and I'm like, yes.
Yes. Good.
And you're a good singer. You Are My Sunshine makes me cry every time.
That was emotional right there. That was your depth of emotion, Sallie, for Martha, playing Martha. I was just like, wow, because we were talking about earlier about like losing someone that was close to you. Like last Christmas, last Thanksgiving actually was the first. Well, actually, the Thanksgiving was the first Thanksgiving that I didn't have my mom, because she passed away in September, and it was hard that first Thanksgiving without my mom. It was hard. I was at my brother's, and it was hard for all of us. And then Christmas, same thing. It was hard, and even back 2 years ago, around close to the holidays, I lost like a brother, best friend, and I'm like, I can't believe it's like been like 2 years. It's been like a year now since my mom passed, and it's just it was hard, but it's difficult.
It's part of life. It's, we don't lose our loved ones. I mean, none of us are here forever, and that's kind of like that grief coming in waves, and that's where it was so easy for me to step into. You asked me about that grief cycle earlier, because we've all lost somebody, and the woman that brought us together passed away. And so she was definitely, her spirit was definitely.
100%. She was with us every day we were shooting.
Yeah.
For sure. And that's the thing with the holidays is it's all about the hallmark, the exciting, the bright lights, the everything is great. I love Christmas. And like, there's enough of that I feel these stories like the Christmas Ride and Home for Thanksgiving, where we can actually talk about real talk, real family, real things that are happening. People resonate with that. And, with the Christmas Ride, I've gotten a couple people that are just like, that was depressing. It's like, okay, cool. You've never lost anyone during the holidays. When it happens, you might actually like understand a little bit more, or this just wasn't for you. You weren't ready for it. And that's fine. Right. But there's been so many people that reached out after that movie, and they're just like, I felt like I wasn't alone. I felt like it was okay to be emotional during the holidays. And I don't know how I'm going to feel whenever I see it in front of a live audience twice, like within days of each other. But I'm excited to see like what everybody's take is and what they think about which character they really resonate with and why.
And the thing I love about your script too is that the way families are, at least in my experience, it's like, we've got this, kind of this, sometimes this friction going on, or, we're mad at each other or whatever, but we still, when all said and done, we still love each other. And, we still hopefully we still work through stuff. I mean, I've got family members that don't talk to each other. My dad didn't talk to his sister for years. Hopefully I'm still speaking with my siblings, but, there's that exists. And I think, and I love doing these lifetime style movies, but there is, as Stefanie said, the flip side of that. And, to present both sides, and just, again, you're not alone. And, we get to experience the spectrum of emotions, in this life that we're all just doing our best to figure out as we go.
Yeah, it's. I mean, figuring out how to, just like during the holidays, like the family and friends that you do have, you just embrace them. You just embrace them, and you're spending the holidays with those that are close to you, and you just you pull them in closer, and you thank God that you get to spend time. And like I have a brother that don't really talk to us too much. I mean, my sisters, I have one sister that lives here, that lives like down in New Smyrna, but she's never home. She's out with her husband, my brother-in-law. They're traveling, going different parts of the country, Colorado, the Carolinas, to see his side of the family. I see her when I see her, and then I got another sister that lives up on the Kentucky-Tennessee line, out in the middle of nowhere. I call it moonshine country.
Yeah.
Which she came down one Christmas surprise. Yeah, she brought some 100% cherry moonshine. I took a shot at my brother has a bar out back on his porch. I took a shot of that. I stood up and I about fell over.
Yep.
I was like, "Thank you, sis." But I hardly get to see I talk to him when I do, but like seeing him like in person, it's been a few years since I've been up to Tennessee to see my sister. I mean, I call her or she'll call me. She called me during Ian or after Ian. She's like, worried about me, and I told her, all right, made it through and stuff. But you just embrace those ones that are around you and stuff, and you always think about the ones that you lost, family, friends. You always think about that. But
Yeah.
it's like you said, Stephanie, with Christmas ride, showing it's like people have it hard going through the holidays and stuff, though. I mean, especially like with Home for Thanksgiving, and it just resonates, like people can relate to it, and I certainly did. It did hit me in places there. I'm like, yeah, I get it, but I enjoyed it. I can't wait for people to see this. I can't wait to see it. You, of course, you've seen it, Sallie, and what did you think about you watching it and seeing your performance on the screen? What do you think?
Well, I told, I was able to watch it and be totally engrossed in the story, and not criticize myself as much as I normally would. I just kind of like let things go. I'm like, yeah. And I'm not going to mention them here because I don't want everyone watching it. So stuff that I noticed. But the story itself, I mean, it it was there on the page, and it's there on the screen, and and even being low budget and not having the big crew to facilitate some of the process, the story was so strong, and I think the characters work so well together.
Right.
That's engaging and forgiving of some of the maybe technical.
Yes. I'm still learning as far as visuals and stuff, and
and I think again, one woman domino that made it all happen, without any real help to walk you along. It's just a tremendous accomplishment and a great story.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I'm really excited to see kind of how Tampa Theater and then T-Buff go. That's just it's so nerve-wracking, but it's also exciting at the same time when you get to see it.
I feel the same way, because even just watching it, on my computer by myself, I'm just like, I'm starting to cry. I'm like, I know the story. I know what's going to happen.
I know every single time I'm like, damn it, I need to be done with this thing because I need to stop crying today. But the one, your very powerful moment, man, that took me a while to do, because I did that all in one shot following you. And there was, we planted mics. You didn't have a mic on you. I planted mics. And so I had to like creatively make sure those weren't in the shot in certain points. Cause of course, as I'm like moving camera, I'm not seeing it, but then I see it in the edit. And so you made me cry for like 3 days straight, but in a good way. And then John Righty, who played Tom and sang "You Are My Sunshine" with his electropharynx, he just added a whole other layer to that character just for being who he is. And getting to talk to him when he came here and did that. Something that I want to be a little bit more cognizant is the disabled characters and actors who have these uniqueness to them. He fought cancer, he won, and now unfortunately he has an electropharynx. But imagine if you put him in a scene where he was the doctor for a cancer patient and he is telling that cancer patient everything's going to be okay as he's talking through that. Like that just adds a whole other level to that kind of character and that kind of story. And when he was talking to us about it, he's like, now that I'm back, because he had to take a break when he was fighting cancer, he's like, now that I'm back, that's the kind of stuff I want to do. I want to just be an everyday character, but just the way that I am. He's like, unfortunately, I always play the dead guy. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. He goes, no, it's okay. I was happy to do this. And it just kind of gets you thinking, too, where it's just like, yeah, we need to be more cognizant of that and imagine, just like the location, Veterans Memorial Park added a layer to the story. Imagine a person who struggles with a disability or even has conquered their disability, what kind of a layer they can add to a story as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the layers that you pull back while watching a movie. It is amazing, and I like the characters because I noticed some of them you've had in previous films, and it's always good to you have that. I feel like Stefanie, you're starting to find a groove in what you do. Like you're doing the holiday movies, which is great because I guess I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, I like to see what she do with like Halloween or Valentine's.
Oh, we're doing Easter next.
No.
A psychological fantasy thriller starring Lexi.
No way.
Oh yeah, I'm finishing the script now, and so I'm gonna be doing a read and like listening to it, and like it's the craziest thing that we've. Oops, let me move my thumb. It's the craziest thing that we've ever done, the craziest thing I've ever written. But our next thing, it's going to take a while before that'll come out because there's a lot of things involved and I'm taking my time with it. But we definitely want to do episodic, and I'm kind of sticking with the theme of holidays. Like I have a Halloween script that I need to write. I have a St. Patty's, I have an Ash Wednesday.
A what?
Do you have a Valentine's Day?
Yeah, the Lent, somebody going through Lent. I've got Valentine's Day, like just kind of playing around with the holidays. The thing with holidays is that it helps marketing if you're using holidays in your story. It's one less thing to have to, because independent films were kind of in a disadvantage already. But an independent Christmas film does much better than an independent comedy. An independent Thanksgiving film, because there's not many Thanksgiving films, might do much better than a drama. Dramas are, unless you have Oscar-winning talent, and even though I know that the people that I work with are A-list in my heart, and they are Oscar winners in my heart, if you don't have a recognizable name or something, it's really hard to get your money back for that. But if you could make like a Labor Day weekend horror movie, like that's something that will catch people's attention more than I have this really amazing like mother-daughter drama just in everyday life kind of thing.
Wow. That's that's a lot right there. I didn't really think of it too much like that there, but yeah, that makes sense right there because with the holiday movies, they're easy to market. That I didn't really think about that there. Yeah, an independent holiday movie would do better than just an independent drama because it's like, hey, it's like, look at this right here. That would be great. Talking about holiday movies. Did you see that they're bringing A Christmas Story back Did any?
I am. I'm so excited. I saw it. It's all like the regular cast and everything. I'm so excited.
Yes, I saw that.
I watch it. We keep it on. I keep it on TV all Christmas. I just love that though. But
For our Christmas story.
It's gonna be so good.
let me let me both ask you a question about A Christmas Story. Do you think the lamp was broken accidentally or on purpose?
On purpose.
On purpose?
Yeah.
Both you say on purpose? On purpose.
It's accidentally on purpose.
Accidentally on purpose. Yes, there you go.
I'm excited to see it because I know a few years ago they did like a sequel to it, but it was like they did a low budget sequel to A Christmas Story, which I mean, no one's talking about it, so that's where that went. But actually having like the original cast back for it, much older, I think that's great because especially the actor who plays Ralphie, because he went on directing movies. He directed what was it, Last Resort with Vince Vaughn. He directed movies like that, and I'm excited to see him bring that character back, but much older,
Yes.
And, he's a dad.
Yeah, it's
gonna be great.
It is going to be great, especially like Tim Allen coming back doing a Christmas, Santa Claus again. Did you hear about that?
The show on Disney Plus, that's going to be interesting. I saw a preview for it the other day. It's going to be very interesting.
Mm-hmm. It is. Yeah, I was glad that they brought Bernard back. They brought the actor back for Bernard.
Yes.
For that right there. But it's neat how they're bringing back this stuff here right around the holidays and for Christmas and gearing up for that there. But I just like for a while I said to myself, the last good independent movie that I've seen was from Jeremiah Kemp, which was a psychological almost horror he did, Slapface, which got a lot of good reviews. I was like happy about. And when I asked him to come on a podcast, he was like, yeah, hit up my publicist. I go, oh, you're big time now, so I have to talk to your publicist now? I was like, wow. And so I was going to joke with you, Stefanie. I'm like, hey, I'm glad we got to talk. I don't have to go through a publicist.
I technically have one, but
but yeah, he was like, yeah, everything has to go through my publicist, and he'll probably laugh at me for saying this. Sorry, Jeremiah, but it was funny because it's like I wrote this big like paragraph to the publicist. I'm like, I've had him on my podcast twice. I'd love to have him come back on, and I'm like sitting there. I'm like, don't ask for money. Don't ask for money, because the last podcast where I had someone come on, I had independent wrestler Billy Starks come on, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll come on your podcast, but you got to donate $25 to Parenthood Plan, I think it is.
Planned Parenthood.
Yes, Plan. Yeah, I got the letter right here in the mail. They're sending me stuff now, which I don't mind. But she was like, Planned Parenthood. I'm like, done.
Yeah.
So I sent, put in $25, and
awesome.
I showed her the receipt, and she's like, all right, let's do the interview. But
that's a great organization. They help women get birth control for free and get their exams to help with cervical cancer. A lot of people just think that Planned Parenthood is just about abortions, but it's about women's health, and it's unfortunate that people don't really do their research, but that was very good. So thank you very much for doing that.
Oh, no problem. They sent me the brochures and stuff in the mail. I've been looking at it and everything and stuff. They even contact me. It's like, can you up your donate? I'm like, let me get back to you because I don't mind, doing that. Like when I told my wife, she said the same thing you said, Stefanie. I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, she put a post out there and said, thank you for everyone that's like she's talked to, that she's been on their show, like, like over $100, that's linked to that right now. And so I'm a part of that.
There's a wrestler you spoke to? There's a wrestler?
Yeah. Yeah. She's like one of the, right now she's one of the like hottest independent wrestlers right now. Billy has been wrestling since she was 14.
Oh,
And
Wow.
she is right now, she is 17. She just turned 18. And now she's going over to Japan, and she's going to go over there. She's wrestled in, before she was 18, she wrestled in probably about, she'd probably kill me if she hears this back. I'm saying probably she wrestled in almost like half of the 50 states, almost
Oh,
half
wow.
she's wrestled in. Just a few of them she's been to, more times, but she's actually like been all over. Every year, PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated, they do like a top like 500. And of course, this year Roman Reigns was number 1. I mean, he's had a good 2 years. But Billy ended up hitting on that list. They started adding women to the list, I think a few years ago. And Billy ended up, I think she ended up at, what was it, on the top 500? She ended up like at like 120. She was down on the list.
Wow.
Like she was on there. Then a month after that, they released just a list of all women wrestlers. She ended up on, I think it was like they did a top 200 or like 300. She ended up at number 53 on the list.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that of all time wrestlers? Because a friend of mine was Americana back in the original Glow days. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But she was the original Americana.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the list. They do it by wins, loses, and they keep it kayfabe, which is story and stuff and everything. Like and she's had a pretty good year because she's all over the place. She wrestled her first hardcore match at GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, up in New Jersey, and she put the picture up of her online there with like just bloody, and she's like, she loved it, she's like, that's not something that she expected, but it happened, and she's just like, she loves just booking, it's like I had her on a few months ago, and I was talking with her, and it's like she's getting booked at shows all over, traveling all over on the weekends, planning for prom and planning for college. I'm like, when I was 17, I wasn't even thinking about that, but she's building a resume, and I tried to get out of her. I was like, are you going to go to WWE or AEW? And she wouldn't say. So she's like, I can't say nothing right now. And I'm like, yeah, one of those companies have hit her up, because if they gave Nick Wayne a contract for AEW when he turns 18, another guy, I'm like, I know one of these have threw a contract at her like when she turns 18, but she's going to Japan, which I think is
very exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's she got her passport and everything. Yeah, it is amazing. It's amazing just the people I get to talk to. It is like you guys, I get to talk to you, and just film directors, independent wrestlers, just telling their stories and just their journeys on everything. And I love it. I love, different types, having great conversations with great people. I mean, it's don't get any better. It don't. It don't. I certainly enjoyed this evening talking with both of you about Home for Thanksgiving. And
Yeah, it's always a pleasure talking with you.
It
yeah,
is.
nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
I support you, Stefanie. I support you.
I see you. I see you on the post. I see you.
I do. I support you. I support you. Put your post where I could share them.
My personal posts I don't, just because personal stuff, you leave that to people that you trust. But I do have my at Stefanie Directs, and Stefanie spelled with an F, on all platforms. Those are my professional ones, and Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And then Bouncy Boxer Media is also on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So definitely stuff to share from there. And I'm trying to get better at adding more things. I
Good job.
like self-taped myself doing an interview for social media stuff, and Fiona at one point was just not having it, and she jumped up like she was like jumping up to try to get on my lap, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is probably so I just added a little blooper today just for funsies.
I seen that. That is funny. I seen that. And you mentioned your social media there for yourself, Stefanie, and Bouncy Boxer Media, putting out great things. I enjoy, going through, looking on, YouTube. When you update YouTube, it pops up.
I know I got to get better about that. It's coming.
It's good. It's good because I watch YouTube more on my TV than on my phone. Actually, I can actually sit back and watch it stuff. I'll sit there. I'll go back and watch just like wrestling shows that I edit and stuff. My wife's like, "You just like watching and hearing yourself." I'm like, because I do commentary. I'm like, no, I like, to go back and watch because I'm my biggest critic. Because I learn.
Oh my gosh, same. Yeah.
You do. We are our own biggest critic on what we do and what we love doing and stuff because we use that as like, to,
Raise the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, raise the bar.
Oh, that was the whole post-production process where you get to that point to where like you're editing, you're like, I'm trash. I hate everything that I'm doing. And then it's like, once I got to a point to where it's like, I can watch this over and over. And I'm like, okay, I made a thing and it looks good and I'm okay with it. Then I'm like, all right, we're done. Don't mess with it anymore. We're done. Because you can keep at like editing these things for years and years and years. People always say like, don't stop till it's perfect. It'll never be perfect.
I had an art teacher that gave that very same advice. I went to college for commercial art, and just either painting or ceramics or whatever that comes apart, a point where you step away from it and then you're done.
Yep.
Because you can always add and tweak and change. And even, you're talking just about theater, live theater. We've been doing it 10, 20 times, but there's somebody in the audience that's seeing it for the first time. And that's why we stick to the original script. I mean, there might be new little discoveries along the way with each different performance, but the roots, the foundation remains the same, so that the audience will always have the same opportunity to experience the
100%. Yeah, there just comes a time where I'm just like, I need to stop fucking with it. And I even text Chelsea and Lexi at a certain point. I said, I'm done fucking with it. It's over. It's done. They're like, yay, great. Yes. You walk away, and then I watched it a couple times, so I'm like, I feel good with this decision. We're good.
Yeah, I'm kind of like that right now with a project I'm working on because the promotion I work with, they kind of mentioned something about one of the old previous shows that we've done because we got 4 shows out, and I went back and I did commentary with my commentary partner on the first 2 shows. We did it post, and I'm like, man, I like this live. It's so much organic instead of sitting there because you know what's going to happen, and you got to make it exciting. It's like, oh wow, look at that. It's like I'd rather do it live because it's organic. But someone brought something about one of the shows, and they're like, we're going to redo that too. I'm like, no, we're not going to. And then as I sat there, I thought about it. I'm like, okay, we can't redo the audio. How about we just let me look at the footage. So I pulled up all the footage. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, because I found a better way on where I can actually cut down editing time for me with doing a multi-camera angle, because I can pull up 3 cameras at one time, which I just discovered not too long ago. After all this time I've been editing, and I'm like, wow, this saves time. This instead of spending like a day doing a match, I can actually do it like within like 30 minutes, which is good because I can look at everything, save time. And I was sitting there, and I'm like looking at different new angles and the cameras that we used for that show, that third show. I'm like, yeah, just for the heck of it, because I know I can do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to re-edit this. So I've been in the process of that right now. So I'm going to drop that on the guys and be like, there you go. What do you think of that? You know, because you're wanting to transfer everything that we have over to this YouTube. It's like now you're going to give someone that's already seen this, they can watch it again, but in a different way.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not messing with it like you, Stephanie. I'm like, after I do this, I'm not touching it again.
Yep, you're done. After a while, you just got to be like, done.
Walk away.
Yeah.
No one-
Yeah, I'm gonna walk away. I'm not gonna fuck with it. I'm gonna walk away. Because,
Exactly.
You know, it's just, you know, add a filter here, add a filter there. You know, it's like you could spend hours. It's like, no, stop. It's like, stop. But this has been great. Social media, Stephanie, you're on social media as you said again. Facebook, Twitter.
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Bouncy is on TikTok. I'm not very good at it, but Bouncy is on TikTok. Eventually, I would like to do some fun skits and stuff on there, but right now I'm just putting behind the scenes stuff.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
and all this with a full-time job.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then some.
And it's yeah, my job too is I got a full-time job. I got like 2-3 full-time jobs. Actually got a full-time job working for the city, and then I got a full-time job being a parent when I come home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got like 4 of them, but just everything, you know, I have my, you know, my hand in doing and stuff. But Sallie, it's been great getting to talk with you, and as you know,
share the spotlight with Stefanie.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I love it when Stefanie says, "Hey, I'm gonna bring my lead on." It's like, yes, I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. I love talking. I love talking with leads. It's rare that I get to talk to leads in movies, and I love it, man. I savor the moment. You know, I get to talk and stuff, and just getting to hear different, you know, points of view from when they, you know, doing the movie and project and stuff. So I enjoy it. You on social media too as well?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, Sallie Glaner, Instagram, S Glaner. Yeah, I'm not good at that either.
It's all good. It's all good.
Like my absent bio and IMDb. I need to step it up.
It's hard. It's a full-time job on itself. That's
Right?
why I used to have an account for like every movie, and then after a while, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It's just me and Bouncy, and that's it.
Yeah, and it's enough. It's enough. Leave them wanting more.
Yep.
Yeah, but then you have to learn a new one. Like Twitter is going down the pie hole, and everybody's talking about Mastodon, and I don't want to learn a Mastodon.
No. I'm old on Facebook and Instagram, and that's probably about it.
Yeah.
See, I like Twitter. During the lockdown, Twitter is where I connected with so many different screenwriters through Pipeline Artists and Script Pipeline. And it's sad because we're all just like, we don't want to leave Twitter because we all love talking to each other. Every Friday night, we all like have a little chat and have our own little hashtag, and we all like cheer each other up and get excited when they all place in screenwriting competitions and stuff. And it's just like, why Twitter? Why did you have to take Twitter? Mr. Musk, stop it.
Yeah, Twitter's a good place to connect because I've made a lot of connections with like a lot of like guests and people I've had on my show from Twitter. And believe it or not, it's just like it surprised me. It's like, especially with independent film on Twitter, I'm like, wow. Like the latest guy who just followed me today, I don't know. I just like it popped up. I'm sitting there at work, and all of a sudden my phone goes off. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I look, and I'm like, who is this? This guy popped up. He's a cult indie director of The Last Big Thing, returns with another art monster, global film, nor called Scammerhead. I watched the trailer, and I'm like, okay. He has big following on Twitter. He has about 7,000 people follow him.
I got more than that.
I know you got a lot of people,
but they're not all real. Like there's a lot of bots and stuff. Yeah, It's not all real. That's a thing.
Even with I'm like, who are you? Why do you? I'm like, no.
I get like bot DMs in my Instagram all the time, and
How can you tell? How can you tell that they're a bot?
Grammar is typically really terrible, and then as soon as they talk about Bitcoin, crypto, or any kind of money transaction, no, thank you.
Got it. Got it. Noted.
Yes. Stay away if they talk about Bitcoin, crypto, or any kind of money.
Any kind of investment things. I'm like,
they're not your sugar daddy. They're trying to take your sugar.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to thank you all for coming on tonight and talking with me, and I had a good time.
As always, thank you so much.
Hi. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, downloading this episode on the audio portion, and watching the video portion of this. I'm Everett Lee, and we'll see you next time for another episode of The Everett Lee Show. Peace.
Bye.
Follow The Everett Lee Show on the following social media platforms: Facebook, The Everett Lee Show; Twitter, @The Everett _Lee; Instagram, Everett Lee. Subscribe, follow The Everett Lee Show on the following platforms: Anchor.fm/Everett Lee Show, YouTube, Everett Lee, and Johners Podcast Network, WrestlingWithJohners.com.